Dark Souls 2 is my favorite video game of all time. Although a lot of it is shrouded in nostalgia, I want to take you through and show you what Dark Souls 2 means to me. The date was March 11th, 2014. Dark Souls 2 had finally released, and I had grabbed a copy for my birthday just a couple days earlier. Initial impressions for the game were already being set as people were making their way through the game. The first thing players might have noticed is the combat is completely different in this game. It's more slow and methodical, and invincible rolling is not as tight as it was in Dark Souls 1. Another thing gamers started to realize almost immediately is that the game doesn't look nearly as good as it did in the gameplay reveal, where the lighting system was way darker and much more realistic. With the game being different than what was shown, as well as the combat being more slow and clunky than Dark Souls 1, this really set the precedent for Dark Souls 2 that it was just not nearly as good as the first game and is not living up to the standards that it set. The weapons and armor in Dark Souls 2 are some of the best in the series by far. Here I want to focus on the weapons because they are a clear distinction of their counterpart in Dark Souls 1. Something cool FromSoft added was to dual stance a weapon. Two weapons of a unique type like a longsword can be dual wielded to create a unique new moveset. On the other side of the spectrum, FromSoft added a new weapon type called the Twin Blades, which would have a moveset seemingly combined with a spear and a curved sword. They would also include an alternate moveset for almost all weapon types in the game that would offer a different way to stylize your gameplay. They would also include a returning weapon in almost all FromSoft games. Although the base game had some of the most diverse weapons and ways to play, the DLCs added some truly epic weapons that still haven't been topped to this day. Dark Souls 2 base game kept me playing for hours, and it truly helped me through those dark times. The thing that keeps me playing the most after launch is Dark Souls PvP. I would actually say PvP is my favorite part about the Souls games, and especially about Dark Souls 2. And although Dark Souls 2 has not been particularly known for its most balanced iteration in the Souls games, it is definitely some of the most fun that I've ever had. Dark Souls 2 has some of the best bosses in the series in my opinion. Just the name alone of the last giant teases at something bigger and makes you ask the question, who are the giants and why is this the last one? The Ruined Sentinels. They give you a sense of dread as three towering knights try their best to smush you out like the ant you are in their kingdom. The Lost Sinner, bound in shackles but definitely not hopeless. This boss fight is really dynamic as you can either fight her in the dark and have your lock-on consistently unlock due to the darkness, or you can light up two furnaces on each side for enhanced visibility against this agile foe. The Executioner's Chariot will chase you down as you freak out not knowing what to do. The Looking Glass Knight. He can summon other players or NPC players to fight alongside him in a truly dynamic boss fight. To an old friend looking dapper as ever, to a smelter demon and his old Iron King swimming in a pit of lava trying their absolute hardest to kill you. A guard dragon that you fight inside of a giant birdcage floating atop of the mountains, down to Velstadt, King of Vendrick's shadow, protecting him even in the darkness.
Beyond the bonfire lies the Forest of the Giants, where a great battle precipitated the kingdom's downfall. The far gate is the entrance to Hade's Tower of Flame. Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul.
Fire came to be, and with it, disparity. And the brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow.
The flame is fading once again. The undead curse swallows the nation whole. Dark Souls 2 lore is very much a part of the story as a whole. However, I feel like the story in Dark Souls 2 is more interconnected with itself and more contained in its own story. You still have a king fighting against the undead curse, but unlike Gwen, this king failed and did not sacrifice his soul to the flame. A king whose soon-to-be queen was not as she seems.
You have fought admirably on your journey, cursed undead.
Her name was Nasandra,
I am Nishandra.
and although she entered in a time of peace, that peace was dark.
Brave undead. Visit Vendrick. We have no need for two rulers. Brave undead. Seek the throne. Before it's too late. The flame. The flame. Souls. More souls. How very dare you?
Brave undead, you have proven yourself to me.
Even though I love Dark Souls 2 as it is, and as it was, the DLCs escalated the game from a Game of the Year contender to my favorite game of all time. All 3 DLCs set you in a wide open area with branching paths and beautiful vistas. The last thing I want to say is that the boss fights for these DLCs were truly dynamic. Elena, a soul fragment of Manus, will summon Veldstadt to fight by her side. The Fume Knight will regain his health unless you find a way to stop his shrines from working outside the boss fight, and you will need to stop those from working, as he is a very formidable foe. He will fight Sir alone in an honorable duel to the death in the most beautiful palace in all of Souls. In the ultimate conclusion of the Lost Crown expansions, you descend into the Ivory King's domain. You will fight him alone in his endless spawning brigade, unless you rescue all the Eleam Lois Knights. This is the ultimate dynamic boss fight, as you need the Eleam Lois Knights to sacrifice themselves to stop their former comrades from coming through the gates and protecting the flame. Thank you all for watching. This video is different from what I normally post. However, Dark Souls 2 has always meant the world to me. This is my love letter for every single person that worked on this game. Thank you.